What is up, everybody, and welcome back to episode 3 of our Team Sky career mode. And immediately off the bat, I want to apologize. I have hand, foot, and mouth disease right now, so if I sound a little rough, that's the reason. But today we're going to be completing the Volta a la Comunitat Valenciana, and we're going to be doing the entirety of the Volta al Algarve. Two really fun races that are objectives for our team, and we really should be in there with a shot in the Volta al Algarve. But up first we have stage 3 of the Volta a la Comunitat Valenciana, a 140 kilometer hilly stage. Our objective is to get a stage win. Nothing too crazy. This looks like it might be the one if Ben Healy or Connor Swift decides to have a good day. But I guess we will find out. And luckily for us, seems like we have some guys on some pretty good days. Ben Healy on a +2. Connor Swift on a -1, so he can go ahead and lead out. And we also have Finley Pickering on a +2 day ahead in the breakaway in case that decides to stay away. And with 24k left to go, we made a little attack up this last hill and managed to get our entire core ahead of the peloton, which is a little wild. We're a minute 30 back from the breakaway, headed on this downhill section, and I'd say this is a decent shot for us to get our stage win. And with about 8 kilometers left to go, the breakaway still has a minute 15 advantage on us, but we are pulling that back as the peloton finally caught up, as we're going to go ahead and launch Chris Froome up here and see if the rest of our guys can follow. Not the craziest acceleration from Froome, but I think that's really going to help out Ben Healy to conserve his energy. Is now it's getting a little close. 3k left, a minute back. I don't think we're going to catch that front group, unfortunately. But if Connor Swift can start his sprint up this hill, if he can get around Chris Froome, Ben Healy can go ahead and launch a little dig as well. I don't know what happened with this stage, but very, very strange game mechanics here. I don't think that everything was proper there. And Alex Molinar takes the win on stage 3. Breakaway staying away again. And I'm having a little trouble with this year's game. Sorry for a little rant, but the breakaways just stay away way too often. It's too hard to pull them back. And there's just no get up and go from the top guys. The top teams don't want to pull even if they have nobody in the breakaway. There's a guy that has a 30-second gap, but if Chris Froome wants to try and go up the road, then absolutely not. Everybody will chase him down. I don't understand that part of this year's game, but I'm trying to work on it and I'm trying to get better at it. But after a very frustrating stage 3, we come into stage 4. It looks more like a medium mountain stage to me instead of just a pure hill stage. It might be one that we can try and get Chris Froome up the road again for, but we'll have to see if they'll allow that. But that uphill finish is really going to suit us unless Remco decides he really wants this stage again. And luckily today, Ben Healy on a +2, Tom Gloag on a +1, Oscar Onley on a +3. So we should be in with a good shot at the end of the stage. And with about 13k left to go, we're about to reach the bottom of this last climb. We're about to catch the breakaway that had Jeffrey Bouchard in it. We worked really hard to make sure that didn't stay away this stage. Nobody else wanted to help us either, so our stamina is hurting. Tom Gloag's in particular, our best placed candidate for GC. But as we hit this first little ramp, it's going to be Kwiatkowski trying to make the move. But we're going to see if we can hold off this man back here, Remco Evenepoel. Seems like he's almost marking Ben Healy. And with about 6.5k left, we have reached the bottom. Seems like people are already braking, so we're going to go ahead and set Connor Swift's effort. Seems to be a little too slow for Michael Kwiatkowski, but we can let him pace a little off the front if he wants to. As Lutsenko, Evenepoel, we're going to try and follow that attack if we can click fast enough, and we can't. Okay, so we're just going to pace towards the bottom. Hope we can regroup with them at some point, as they just look way stronger than anybody we've got right now. As we move Swift up to 92, can use him to try and bridge Onley. But I don't think we're going to have a shot at catching Remco. As we pass this little group, we can move it down a little bit, as it looks like they've slowed their pace. We're just trying to keep Ben Healy in a position where he might be able to win this with 1.5k left. We're going to attack across with Healy, but nothing really happening there for him. And it looks like it's going to be a decent finish for us, but wow, just Evenepoel, Higuita, Lutsenko, G, all just made a different stuff, as this was clearly a statement by Remco Evenepoel here, as we can get Healy to sprint to try and get ahead of Godon, but it looks like he's just going to stay ahead of Soler and come in 8th place. And after stage 4, you can see the GC standings. Remco ahead of Alexei Lutsenko by 22 seconds, Serge Higuita by 26, Geraint Thomas by 47, and Ben Healy moves up to 5th place, a minute and 15 back with 1 stage left. And stage 5 is going to be a flat stage. There's a little crosswind here, so we might try and get maybe Connor Swift into a breakaway, but he's 12th. I don't know if they let him do that. We don't really have a sprinter, so this isn't most likely going to be our stage unless Swift can get into a breakaway and it stays away through that whole echelon section. And luckily, against the odds, we were able to get Connor Swift into the breakaway. It's a 10-man breakaway, looking pretty strong. Evenepoel tried to bridge across, which sent the peloton into a frenzy, and Swift was the lone strong rider able to get up the road. And with about 8k left, we still have a 50-second gap on the peloton. Swift should be the best placed to win the stage if that stays away, but Mikel Honore also in here, so we're going to have to go ahead and try and stick on his wheel and hope we don't run out of stamina. And with 2k left, looks like we don't have a ton of stamina. We're regaining a little bit, and with about 0.8 left, we're going to go ahead and start the sprint with Connor Swift. Honore up front. Swift, not enough stamina to come around, as Johan Jacobs and Ander Okamika come in 1-2. Just didn't have enough stamina right there at the end, which is very disappointing for us, as we were well placed to win that stage, as we fail another objective for the season. But thankfully, despite us missing the objective, Ben Healy did secure us a top 5, which should go well in our sponsors' eyes, and we did end up winning the team category, finishing 2 minutes and 45 seconds ahead of Ineos Grenadiers. And as you can see, our sponsor has slid down from success to acceptable. A big red X for no stage wins. Tom Gloag finishing in the top 3 doesn't really do anything for them. But Ben Healy does get us a little bit back with the noteworthy result of the top 5. And that sponsor pressure is going to make this Volta ao Algarve coming up way more important than I thought it would be. And we have arrived at the Volta ao Algarve, but if we take a look at the races in between, Darren Rafferty was able to pick up a 2nd place at the Muscat Classic, as well as a 1-2 finish at the Vuelta Murcia Costa Calida for Tom Gloag and Oscar Onley, And that's going to mark Tom Gloag's first win of the season. But we move back to the Volta Algarve Stage 1. It's going to be a flat stage, and of course, this is another objective for us. We have to finish in the top 5. Fred Wright, Antonio Tiberi, Max Poole should all be capable of doing that, so we do have options. But this first stage, we don't really have a sprinter, so we're probably just going to lay low. And it was in fact a pretty boring stage here with 11 kilometers left. A 3-man breakaway went up the road, and UAE started pacing really hard for their young unknown rider named Tadej Pogacar. Don't know if anybody else has ever heard of him, but I think that kid's going to be pretty good someday. But we're going to try and set up Fred Wright here for the final sprint. But Tiberi not putting down enough pace quite yet. There's a little uptick in the road with what looks to be about 1.5k left, where we're going to try and send him, but we need to get to the front. Gerg Zimmerman, Taco Vanderhorn really laying down the pace right now, as it looks like it's going to be Leo Hayter's turn here pretty soon. And I think that's going to be right now, as Max Poole is going to be the last to unleash Connor Swift as Hayter decides to go. And Poole going to start his sprint, and it's going to be all on Fred Wright here with 0.7k left, and he's going to get swamped right at the line as Marco Haller, Pipo Gana come in 1-2 as Wright eventually falls to 6th place. And stage 2 looking like it's going to be absolutely brutal. Looks like we've got 4 hills right before that final climb. And the final climb doesn't look too steep, but I'm going to be very worried for our rider's stamina after what comes just before. So we're going to have to kind of play it by ear, and whoever's in the best position is going to get a chance at this stage. And with about 15 kilometers left to go, it looks like the top teams brought their A game today, because oh wow, there is a giant group of incredibly strong riders that just flew up the road. And we're going to try and hold on to the back and see if we can make up some ground on this final climb. And with just under 8.5k left to go, we have caught that leading group, but our stamina not in a great spot. Fred Wright going to be leading out Max Poole, and this first incline is going to be really tough on our riders. It's going to be a little easier for Poole than it will be for Wright, so we'll move his pace up a little bit as Yates and Ciccone go. Pogacar, Alaphilippe, and Shaw going also. We can't afford to attack at the bottom. We just don't have enough stamina, but we can push the pace a tiny bit, trying to stay with this second group. This isn't the only hilly stage we've got, so we can make up time later, but against this field it's looking a little unlikely. With 4.5k left, Fred's going to have to slow the pace down a little bit just to conserve some stamina, as Yates looks like he's about done up there. But Fred Wright also looking like he's about to be done, as we can give him a little bit of a last little push to get Max Poole where he needs to be. And right now is when Max Poole's going to have to do it on his own. But it looks like we just do not have the legs to keep up with the top guys today. Hopefully we can come in with Jakob Fuglsang and Adam Yates, but Adam Yates stands up to give a little bit of an effort, and there's still 1k left. Max Poole going to have to set at 55 to try and have something left to reach this second group, but no, their legs are just way better than ours today, as Max Poole can sprint to try and keep time with Fuglsang, and it'll be Poole in 8th and Wright in 9th. Not ideal, but it is doable for our objective of a top 5, as long as a few of those guys in front of us slip up. And in GC, we are sitting on 8th and 9th place with Max Poole and Fred Wright, about 2 minutes behind each, and we're going to have to find about 40 seconds probably about 30 seconds to hit that top 5. But before we're able to make up any time, we have to get through stage 3, another flat stage. Looks like it's probably going to be another boring one. It's 197 kilometers, so I don't even think we'll go for a sprint finish here. We'll just sit in the back and keep our riders' energy up for stage 4 and the final time trial on stage 5. And here with just under 6K to go, it has been another boring stage. Rafferty got into the break. I knew we said we wouldn't participate in a sprint finish, but you know, what are we here for if we're not here to win some stages? Gonna try and tee Fred right up, maybe get some bonus seconds. It might come in handy in the future, but Leo Hader's gonna have to pave the way right now, as it looks like it's gonna be T-Berry's turn to unload. And with about 1.3 left, we're gonna start the sprint on Fred Wright. See if he can come around, which of course he can't. And it looks like it's going to be Mike Tunison, Timo Rosen, and Oliver Nassen. But Fred Wright does pick up another top 10 spot, finishing in 7th place. And after stage 3, there were no changes to the GC order, so we are here for the start of stage 4. Another hilly stage, but it looks a little less brutal in the run-up to that final climb, so this should suit us a little bit more. That top group of riders in this race, though, are just going to be so hard to beat, but we're going to give it a go, and I think we might have something to show them with Fred Wright and Max Poole here. And here with about 9K left, we are in that front group, and it looks like Fred Wright is going to be our best option for the stage win here. So we're going to set Hader up to 85 as attacks come across from Valentin Madouas, Gerg Zimmerman, Peo Bilbao. There's people trying to get a jump right before the final climb, but we're not going to bite on that. We're just going to sit in, keep pace, and try to make our move right there at the bottom. See if we can get either Max Poole or Fred Wright away, as Leo Hader's job is slowly coming to an end as we pass Großschartner, and Max Poole can start to take over and drive the screw into our opponents as Ciccone makes an attack. We're gonna try our best to stick with him as he's one of the riders ahead of us, but he can just attack for days, it turns out, as Max Poole gonna use the rest of his energy to give Fred Wright a nice little launch, as it's now his turn to take over. And with 0.9, he still doesn't have enough to sprint all the way to the finish, but it looks like it flattens out a little bit, so we will give it a go. Fred Wright trying to get into that top 5 and get some time back that we lost on the last stage, but it looks like that's not going to happen as the elite riders fill up the top 10, and Fred comes across the line in 13th place. So it all comes down to the final time trial on stage 5. And Fred Wright does fortunately move up to 7th place, but we do need just under a minute to try and catch Julian Alaphilippe. I don't know if that's possible, but Fred Wright is a decent time trialist, so we do have a shot. And that final time trial, stage 5, 24.4 kilometers. It looks pretty flat. There's a little undulation, but I don't suspect that'll play a big difference in the final times here. But Fred Wright, everything's going to be on him, and I'll bring you his time trial in its entirety. And Fred Wright just about to start the stage 5 time trial. He's going to be getting up to speed early. We can move him down to about 80. Just want to be smooth, consistent. He's on a good day here, so we do have a decent shot at this, as he's going to keep pedaling away, getting through the first time check in 10th place, 20 seconds back. That is not bad at all, as we can move it up a little more as we approach these hills. It's only going to play into his strengths. Our stamina looking like it's in a good spot too. We're going to try and run out of both bars right at the end to try and maximize our effort. And coming up here, we can move it up even more. Our stamina doing a lot better than I thought it would be today. We're at 80 because we have a +2 on it for the day. Also +2 to our time trial and +3 to our prologue, which is definitely going to help as we come through the second time check, and we're in 10th place, 1:08 back from Stefan Bissiger. Tobias Foss up there too, but this is very encouraging stuff from the young Brit, as we might have to move it down a tiny bit. We don't want to run out too early, but it is mostly downhill from here, as Fred Wright coming across with 1K left. We're going to move it up to 99 in 5th place for Fred Wright, 56 seconds, as we do move below Pipo Ghana, who sets a new fastest time. We'll speed it up here a little bit. Alaphilippe comes in front of us, and Adam Yates comes in behind us, which is good news. And Tadej Pogačar going to come in 8th place, also behind Fred Wright. But 7th place on the stage, not bad, about where we should have finished. And we get to find out here where we're going to finish in the general classification. And we're going to fall just short of our objective of 5th place, coming in 7th, 2 minutes and 39 seconds back of Tadej Pogačar. But Stefan Kung actually jumped us. I thought Ciccone knew he was going to fall, but the question was how far, but it doesn't even matter. Stefan Kung takes our spot in the top 5. And with that failed objective, we're going to be on the ropes for the rest of the season. We're going to need to hit every objective as hard as we possibly can. But I wanted to thank you for watching this episode 3, and hope you come back for episode 4. And if you did like this, please feel free to like the video and subscribe. I put out a new video every weekend, and just wanted to say thank you for all the support, and see you later.